Wala namang yatang strict rules
Yes.
dun.
Oh,
Okay,
taglis naman.
Live na po tayo, sir.
okay.
Okay,
You, Miss Dayan.
magandang gabi, magandang hapon, Pilipinas.
Good afternoon, mga ka-Pix Pro.
Hello
Magandang
mga
hapon,
KC,
Kapix
good
Pro.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Magandang hapon sa lahat.
Guys, paki-change yung name nyo sa sa pangalan nyo kasi di namin makita kung sino na yung susunod. Thank you.
Ayan, good afternoon mga ka-Pix Pro. Dumadami na po yung viewers natin. So magandang hapon sa ating lahat. And welcome again to another meaningful Friday afternoon session of Kwentuhang Cybersecurity. So we hope everyone had a productive week and is ready for another practical cybersecurity conversation today.
Tamang-tama, no? So, habang nag-wait tayo sa iba nating viewers, please comment kung saan kayo or where you are watching from today. You may also type kung sa ba kayong business owner, IT, or nasa field ng cybersecurity, or kahit student. Pwedeng-pwede.
Yes, so please share this live stream with your colleagues and friends who may benefit from today's topic, para mas marami pa tayong viewers today.
Sige, share lang pag may time.
Ayan, shoutout kay Attorney Syed Sharon Basit. Hi Pix Pro, greetings from Attorney Coach Syed Sharon Basit Grievance Committee ng UCCW United Citizen Crime Watch Paranaque Chapter at beloved Cybercrime Specialist member ng Pix Pro. Good afternoon po, Sir Syed.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Oh, magandang hapon, Ma'am Ruby. Marahay na hapon sa kabos from Bicol.
Hapon po, Miss Ruby.
Good afternoon, Ms. Ruby. Good afternoon po kay Miss John Manrique. Kita ko, she is watching. Isa sa mga GRC natin sa ATR and Associates.
Yes, good afternoon, Miss Jan. Kindly share this live stream lang, no? So that mas marami pa tayong viewers that can absorb the very timely and interesting topic po natin ngayon.
Bale, no, Sir Kim, yung topic natin today is about practical application ng cybersecurity framework. Then, strengthening yung organizational security, risk management, and compliance. So, pag pinakinggan mo yung buong title, parang ang technical, no? Pero itong discussion na to, by our esteemed guest speaker will help make it easier para maintindihan natin and connect to sa real organizational needs.
Yes. Kasi when we hear NIST, ISO 27001, or risk management, we often think of long policies, checklists, and audits. No, but cybersecurity frameworks are not meant to remain only in documents. Yes. Good afternoon kay Sir Nalitnas Nozik. Good afternoon po. And good afternoon din kay Sir Ian, watching from Cyber. Good afternoon.
Hello po kay Sir Vince Matthew Respuena. Good afternoon.
Maayong hapon, Kapix Pro. Sabi ni Sir Ben, maayong hapon po. Shoutout kay Sir Jobs. Good PM from Cavite. It's good to have you po sa ating kwentuang cybersecurity today.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I will introduce our distinguished guest. It is my privilege to introduce our guest speaker for today's Kwentuhan Cybersecurity Session.
Pasok ka na po sa room.
Engineer Limel Dexter Casagna, a session information security leader with more than 3 decades of expertise in cybersecurity, IT infrastructure, and enterprise technology. Engineer Casagna currently serves as a senior manager, information security at Alibaba Qatar, where he leads enterprise-wide initiatives in security governance, risk management, compliance, and cybersecurity operation. His distinguished career spans the banking, legal, and technology sectors in both the Philippines and Qatar, consistently demonstrating leadership in safeguarding mission-critical system and advancing digital resilience. He holds globally recognized certification, including CISSP, CISA, CISM, CDPSE, PMP, and CSPII. Credential that reflects his mastery across security, privacy, and project leadership. Behind his technical expertise, Engineer Casagnap is deeply passionate about strengthening cyber resilience, mentoring IT professionals, and advancing best practices in cybersecurity. His dedication to knowledge sharing and capacity building continues to inspire confidence across industries and communities. Please join me in giving a warm of enthusiastic welcome to Engineer Dexter Casagnap, a visionary leader and advocate for cybersecurity excellence.
Good afternoon, magandang hapon po sa lahat. Thank you, Engineer Lenny. Thank you also everyone for having me here. Welcome. Before we start, I just want to mention that my presentation does not reflect my employer or my organization. So this will be just for Pix Pro. So we can start. Let me share my screen for the presentation. So I think now it's visible, right? So now for our presentation today, it's about practical application of cybersecurity framework. So we'll have to start with topics related to the framework, list, and then the definition of frameworks, definition of CSF, and the implementation tiers, how to practically apply the framework, and a technical architecture diagram just to have a visual representation technically on application of that framework, and then some comparison between NIST and CIS controls. So ito na po yung ano natin, yung medyo basis natin sa current discussion, which is from the NIST, which is a US government mandated entity na gumagawa ng mga frameworks, mga special publications, cybersecurity white papers para makatulong sa normally basically for US constituents pero ginagamit siya worldwide. So NIST was developed in 2002 as per a government mandate at saka ngayon maraming mga frameworks na nakabase sa NIST, nakapublish din sa NIST website. So isa doon yung ano, one thing is the NIST SP 853 which outlines the security controls for FISMA compliance. So this is one major one special publication that is well known to cybersecurity specialists. So these are the links basically for NIST publications. I think most of you, if you're aware of NIST, if you've been following it, ito yung mga publication numbers na fina-follow natin for cybersecurity and IT. So SP 800 and SP 1800, bago-bago lang yung SP 1800, but SP 800 was the usual, the commonly referred to publications for different cybersecurity frameworks, including incident response. So this is common knowledge of definitions before we proceed. So cybersecurity refers to securing or mitigating risk that threatens digital assets. And security framework is a high-level structured approach, like a skeletal structure that provides a comprehensive foundation and roadmap for managing cybersecurity risks. So basically, yun yung reference, yung framework mo, yung parang doon nagsisimula lahat ng mga target mo, yung goal mo, yung policies mo base sa framework kung saan ka follow. So if walang framework yung current organization mo, better to look into NIST for the reference. If meron namang regulatory or regulator na may mga regulatory requirements for a certain business sector like banking or government, then definitely sa Pilipinas meron din tayong mga frameworks na sinusunod, which is from DICT and from the respective regulatory bodies like BSP and the likes. So from the security framework, you will define, depende sa business sector, depende sa sa business na or sa company na pinagtatrabahuan nyo or kung saan kayo nag-work. Doon nyo i-develop din yung policies, which is the high-level statement of intent from top management. Doon nyo i-develop yung standards for your organization. Then from there, following your policy, you can have your procedures and guidelines for the business as usual day-to-day tasks. So ito ngayon yung comparison na ginawa ko nung una, and because I come from Qatar now. So ito yung unang nilagay ko. So di ko lang nalagay yung DICT framework dito. But here is a quick comparison of some of the common or most commonly used frameworks. If ever gusto niyo magpa-certify, usually we refer to the ISO 27001. But because NIST by itself is not, there's no formal certification, not certifiable, but still you can audit or do a self-assessment or you do an independent assessment against the NIST framework if you're planning on following it. Pero yung mga kailangan ng certifications for their organization, usually ISO 27001 ang kinukuha nila. Or if you're in banking, then you go for PCI DSS. So itong mga frameworks na to, basically depende sa organization, iba-iba yung mga documents na available, but meron mga mapping na pwede mong gawin. So depende sa domains within the framework, which is the domains that are related to what you need to follow. Then pwede mo ma-map sila if ever nagpa-follow ka na ng isang framework and then you want to certify against another framework, then pwede mo silang gawan ng mapping sa requirements at saka sa compliance nila. So compliance means it's something na kailangan mong sundin base sa requirements ng organization niyo. So not all will be applicable but depende sa analysis ng specialist or nung information security manager niyo. So this is just a quick history of the NIST cybersecurity standards or cybersecurity framework. So basically merong mga developments na ginagawa. So mga frameworks kagaya rin ng mga regulatory frameworks na ginagawa ng mga governments natin. Meron din silang mga versions, meron din silang mga evolution. So nag-evolve sila based sa requirements ng industry, ng country. So pati sa NIST meron din siyang mga evolution. So may mga versions na nire-release every number of years. And yun ang susundin natin. So now if ever titingnan nyo, meron ng latest update ng NIST noong 2024 which is the Cybersecurity Framework 2.0. So nakapublish siya sa Cybersecurity White Paper 29. So all available to sa NIST website. Even ISO 27001 has the latest update version 2022. So may mga version updates din sila. Pati PCI DSS, I think 4.x na ngayon. So yun, meron din sila mga changes. And because nasa banking industry ako, kaya medyo alam ko yung mga PCI DSS at saka SWIFT na frameworks. So ito yung comparison ngayon ng visual comparison ng version 1.1 which is tumakbo ng matagal for so many years from NIST, and then yung version 2. So meron na silang parang naka-emphasize na ngayon which is the govern part. Na all in all, after all the cycle, identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover, meron siyang dinagdag na govern, tsaka meron siyang na-shuffle na mga domains or mga tasks within those domains categories. So ito na yun. So usually functions or domains within the framework, ito yung nakalagay sa NIST 1.1 which is easier. Makikita mo yung parang categories within each function, and then may mga requirements din within each categories na kailangan mo sundin, which is very useful para sa atin na either nagsisimula pa lang sa cybersecurity or parang nagma-manage, starting to manage cybersecurity. You can refer to the different categories and functions within the framework. So basically sa pagsisimula ng career natin, hindi natin usually nakikita ito while hindi kailangan like i-refer ng mga new hires or mga bagong employees kasi meron tayong mga sariling tasks. But as you stay longer within an organization, then you move up or you move to another organization having a higher position, then you start stepping back and looking at the bigger picture of your certain field. Like in terms of cybersecurity or IT, you see that if you're only like managing for cybersecurity, if you're only managing the antivirus, then you're at the protect function. So basically from that, binigyan ka ngayon ng additional task, maybe for user awareness and training, for additional managing of data leakage protection. So now you're getting a more wider scope dun sa protect na function. But as you move up to the chain, managing a certain department or a certain unit within information security or cybersecurity, then you might cover other functions as well, excuse me. So like let's say if you're handling security operations SOC, so within the SOC you will have to cover detect and respond. So detect and respond, so you have to cover these categories as well. So not only detect if you're L1, but as you move up, you will have to cover detect and respond. And if you manage the entire SOC, then maybe detect, respond, and recover, and even part of protect. So in the new version of NIST, then they added the govern, and then the govern function has certain areas as well. They moved some of the areas or some of the categories from other functions to govern. And they highlighted this na dapat mauna yung govern function talaga. Nagkaroon kasi ng siguro nagkaroon ng requirement nga about roles and responsibilities, mga ganon. As the threats evolve, as the requirements evolve for more effective cybersecurity function, naisip nila na idagdag yung govern. And then from there, many many categories within other functions were shuffled as well, where it really applies. So usually yung mga updates na ganito, applicable pa rin yung mga lumang ginagawa, pero may mga dagdag lang na mandatory requirements, which is useful for us tracking the cybersecurity structure. So ito yung medyo definition lang, short definition ng mga functions. So identify, where you identify your assets, where identify data, which is critical data that your company needs to protect, where you classify your data, which is for public consumption, which is for top secret, which is for internal usage only. So this is where you identify those. And from here also, you can identify threats and vulnerabilities, do threat mapping, and do vulnerability scanning, and identify where let's say your exposures are. From there, then you do go to the protect function, where you define and design your cybersecurity defense, your controls, whatever applies to your organization. Maybe not everything will apply if you don't have a wireless network, if you don't have any other components or cloud, maybe you don't have a cloud infrastructure, then some of the protect functions or categories do not apply to your organization. But whatever applies, then you have to design and design the architecture to be able to implement the controls that are required for your organization. Then the detect and respond, because we know there are a lot of breaches that are happening, and as they say, it's not if you get breached or if you get hacked, but it's a matter of when. So basically, detect and respond needs to be there to monitor any unusual occurrences, unusual circumstances, unusual events, and then investigate and identify if there are any attacks happening, and then respond and recover. So respond to be able to block or stop the attacks, and then to recover if ever the attacks happen, then you can recover immediately, restore from backup, and the data can be and the business can resume. So overall, the govern function sits monitoring and governing the entire flow, including the roles and responsibilities required for each function. So there are, in order to be able to assess your effectiveness of following these frameworks, and in order to also monitor your progress, you have to keep on assessing and doing self-assessment, testing yourself, testing your organization, where you are now, whether the processes and the controls that you have applied are at a certain tier or a certain level, maturity level, where you can identify whether, let's say, are you at a certain stage where you need to keep improving. So if your processes are already repeatable, if you are adaptive, or if you are applying these controls or applying these processes at an ad hoc layer or ad hoc approach. So if you do that, then you're still at the tier one stage. So this is just a description of how you identify, or how you, same as the previous slide, how you measure your maturity level for compliance to the framework. So this is where you're at as well, from ad hoc, repeatable, defined, and managed, optimized, depending on how what you follow. There is no like a single single method to measure or to map these tiers, because anyway NIST is not certifiable, but from a certain extent you can measure yourself from tier 1 to tier 5 depending on the compliance level of your organization. So here are examples on the practical application of each function for this framework, for the NIST framework. So for identify, as I've explained earlier, you can start with asset inventory, e-discovery, data classification, vulnerability assessment, penetration testing to identify your weaknesses, do threat modeling. Then you can proceed with that within identify. A lot of organizations even struggle at the asset inventory or asset management phase. So this is where you need to make sure that this is done properly in order to apply the current the required protect phases, yeah, the required protection, the required controls in order to protect your organization. So network segmentation is required within your protect function depending on your organization's requirements, your organization's business as well. Then VPN secure access for any remote access required for your employees, especially now with the requirement for a lot of remote work to be done, a lot of move towards remote work as well. So this is work from home, then this is very much required to implement. Then access control, definitely. There are several levels also of access control, role-based access control, any automation for user access management that you can do. This will definitely help within Protect. Endpoint security, your anti-malware, your EDR, your antivirus, network security, patch management, email security, data backup, and high availability. All of these controls that you can implement within your organization, depending on your organization's business, depending on your organization's priority as well. As we all know, the cybersecurity follows CIA triad, where you need to protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability. But the level of these requirements for CIA within an organization may not be equal. So most of the time it's not the same depending on the type of business your company or your organization is running. So there are times when confidentiality is higher priority. There are times when availability could be higher priority for your organization as well. So then detect. So within detect function, you have log management, security monitoring. You have the SOC as well within this function. EDR and NDR can be part of protect, but then more on detect because of the nature of its function, the nature of the tool. So as you all know, it has a lot of use cases to identify, to detect any unusual behavior and report them or alert them. So EDR and NDR are also found in detect. Intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, these are controls that help with the detect function. And digital risk monitoring, brand monitoring, exposure management and monitoring. These are also very helpful in the security operations, security monitoring and detection function. So respond, incident response plan. This is something you prepare in the beginning as well. If you have this, then it's much easier for the organization to respond to incidents. Your crisis management plan, your incident response retainer, if you can have this one, and digital forensics capability for investigating any anomalies and suspicious events, especially breaches and ransomware attacks and all these unusual events. Then recover. So based on the controls that you have implemented in Protect for data backup and high availability. Data backup is usually a very useful tool. You need to also test your restoration capability to be able to support the recover function. So on the recover function, you can have this, the disaster recovery plan, failover plan, and restoration procedures. Then under the govern, you have your policies, your strategy, your roles and responsibilities, which is very important, and capability maturity assessment, which I've shown earlier in the previous slides, where you can identify and enhance each function within your company to be able to improve your cybersecurity posture. This is an example of the how you map the technical security controls. This does not show all the domains or all the functions that may be applicable to your organization. This is from a technical point of view, a logical architecture of the technical controls. However, within certain domains, also in frameworks, in these cybersecurity frameworks, which include physical security, which include encryption, which include user awareness, so security awareness, although I've mentioned it in this slide, I was able to put it here, but you cannot see how ports are configured to enable encryption, which is now very important, as we all know from different protocols before. It was now very much recommended to use encrypted ports, so the secure ports, in order to protect our data from sniffing and the likes. So that's why even if that does not show here, that is something that you also need to consider. And so that's why this does not show the entire applicability of controls within frameworks, within the framework. So, but here you can at least see the technical controls that you need to consider within your organization in order to protect your organization. And depending on the maturity of your cybersecurity posture, of your compliance to the framework, some of these controls may not be there yet, or some of these controls may not be required also, depending on your risk tolerance, your organization's business. But you can build many things also within the same tool or same system, depending on the capability of the solution that you have chosen. So sometimes you can have a separate, like in this diagram, you can refer to the IPS and IDS or IDPS. Sometimes some solutions will have the same capability within a next gen firewall. So if you have that, then that would be also good. So it does not really like apply one to one. So you can just use it as a reference, but depending on your organization, you can also implement different, and depending on the solution as well, you can implement the solutions that may have the same objective, control objective, achieved, even if you are only deploying one solution. So it might not be the same for everyone. So normally you have the email security gateway to protect your emails, this anti-spam gateway. You have your proxy and web server for proxy server for content filtering. You have your email server, which is protected by the email gateway. You have your own internal core IPS, internal core firewall as well to protect your most critical assets. And then all those other controls to be deployed, like PAM, if ever that is something that you can manage, that would really be good. Otherwise, if you need other controls like LAPS, it's not here, but you can implement these as well. So these will guide you when you are applying the controls based on basis of the framework requirements. Then this is also a good comparison to map the NIST CSF or whatever framework you're following. We've been following also CIS controls ever since I shifted to cybersecurity from IT. CIS controls also evolved from different priorities in its own framework. So before it was it was a different structure, different priority, but now this is the latest one, 8.1. So in CIS 8.1, you still start with identify, which is inventory of and control of enterprise assets, and then inventory and control of software assets. And then you protect all of these objectives within its own framework. It's very useful also to follow, especially that they also emphasize most of the framework will also emphasize continuous vulnerability management, vulnerability scanning, and penetration testing. These will require you to keep on testing our own controls to make sure that they are still effective, and to make sure that they don't need if they need tweaking or if they need some fixing depending on the new threats, evolving threats. Then these are always the best practice to always regularly test our controls, our applications to make sure that thank you so much for listening. I hope there was some takeaway that you were able to get from this session. It's just a basic session of how you can apply the framework for your organization and use it to enhance your cybersecurity posture.
Thank you, Sir Dexter, for that very timely discussion. Yes, this part of discussion is very relevant because it shows that improving an organization's cybersecurity posture requires more than just one security tool or solutions. So yeah, it combines the capabilities. Thank you so much, sir. So this is a interactive discussion with our viewers. We saw some of the interesting questions coming from our audience. So let us mention, Sir Dexter, some of the question. Sir Ben asked earlier, Sir Dexter, which framework is recommended here in the Philippines? So will the government set a standard framework?
Yes, definitely. I believe the Philippines has a framework that is developed by DICT. So definitely that is something that you need to consider if your organization is not being regulated by any of the bureaus or departments such as BSP if you're in the banking sector. So if there is no such regulation that you're following, then I suggest you do refer to the Department of Information and the ICT. So they have that to enhance or to work on your organization's maturity, cybersecurity maturity of their cybersecurity posture.
Thank you, sir. For the follow-up question by Sir Ben, can you recommend on other frameworks such as MITRE? Are they the same?
MITRE is basically widely used for security operations. So when we do detect and respond, when we do security monitoring, before it was we used to refer to the kill chain to be able to make sure that we cover the areas that are very important or very crucial to defend against. So, but now that MITRE is there to cover many, let's say, sub areas within each of the kill chain phase, so MITRE is very useful. So there are many solutions that we implement now that we require or we ask the vendors to embed or integrate with the MITRE framework to be able to identify and enhance that specific area of the control to be able to enhance that cyber defense. So basically, MITRE is useful, but not for an organization-wide framework. It is useful for security operations, security monitoring, detection, and response. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So, as per mentioned by Ms. Ruby, many organization, lalo na dito sa Pinas, fail to implement these frameworks due to lack of awareness on this fact. So, Sir Ben mentioned that maybe there are automated tools. Sir Dexter, can you mention or recommend some automated tools?
Actually, there is not one single automated tool to cover the entire framework requirements. So we've been struggling with that for some time. It's not possible, but I am aware that a lot of GRC tools have been popping up where you can, and there's a lot of people also who have started to develop their own GRC tools to test to keep on testing and checking the implementation of the control required for each framework. And you can do that. You can automate the assessments. You can automate the monitoring of each function and requirement for that framework. But to implement the framework itself or to implement the controls themselves, to automate that, I have not seen a certain or a single solution. So there may be a solution that you can work with. EDRs, a lot of solutions have been evolving recently, like EDRs having multiple functions all at once. Microsoft also has a lot of functions that they have implemented or deployed within their own technology, where it can cover a lot of requirements within the framework. Like since we are all using a lot of Microsoft products as well. I'm not promoting Microsoft in this way. You can select your own solution, but and also we are not implementing full Microsoft solution ourselves. But you can see that they have moved. Some solutions have evolved into like data class from data leakage. They've added data leakage control, data classification, data labeling. They've added user access management. They've added email security. So there's a lot of solutions that are evolving into a single, let's say, solution for complying with the framework. But maybe soon it will come, especially with the trend AI trend. A lot of solutions will definitely evolve and provide more coverage for all the requirements in the framework. But right now, there is not one solution yet.
Noted that, Sir Dexter. No? Thank you din kay Sir Ben for those good question na na-raise na. We have received also question from Sir Seven. Sabi niya po ay, as he understand, the three major general program frameworks are NIST CSF, ISO or IEC 27001 and O2, and CIS critical security controls. If these three are well implemented, is there still a chance of a breach, Sir Dexter?
There is maybe a lower chance of a breach, but there will always be chance of a breach because even if you implement them well, there will always be some weak points, weak parts of the chain or weak parts of your implementation. But if you add continuous testing, if you add breach and attack simulation, if you add red teaming, if you add consistent independent maybe audits and assessments, penetration testing of your applications, if this is done regularly, then you will also lower the chance as well of the breach. If you add user trainings, I've seen a lot of like turnovers from the companies now. Sometimes you have an expert who is managing your cloud, but then that guy suddenly transfers to another company. Then you have to retrain a new guy. So normally the human factor is something that you need to be constantly aware of, constantly monitoring as well. So if you do this frequent testing because you've already done the implementation of the full framework, and that is very much a good practice from your part on your part. But you need to constantly test yourself. You cannot be like lax because I've already implemented it, I can sleep well at night. Yeah, that's good, that's well and good, but keep on testing yourself.
Okay, so follow-up question po ulit kay Sir Seven, no, na given that the NIST, CSF, ISO, IEC 27001, and SIR-2, and CIS, Critical Security Controls are considered the three major frameworks. So parang umulit lang ulit, sir, no? Sabi niya, does full implementation of these standards eliminate the possibility of a breach, or meron pa po ba daw residual risk remain?
There will always be residual risk. So depending on what compromises you made. But if you don't make any compromise, you put full implementation, then that's what I suggest. I fully suggest keep on testing yourself, because even if you implement it, once the threats evolve, if you already thought that, oh, I've implemented this control, but suddenly a new feature came out, AI came out, and then suddenly your users who were blocked from using AI suddenly were able to search AI through Google itself. So then Translate is there. So you have your own. There are a lot of factors that as the technology evolves, become prominent. So they will come out eventually. Now as quantum computing comes also, and then password control, the phishing, social engineering becomes more aggressive, then you need to keep testing yourself, test your organization, test your users, do a lot of trainings, and make sure that you patch, you fix, you cover these areas where you find some weaknesses as a yearly exercise or a regular exercise. Then definitely it will even lower your chance of getting breached. But it will never be zero. So that is something that we must be prepared for. That's why you have the other areas such as respond and recover in the framework.
Happy, Sir Dexter. Thank you. Thank you din kay Sir Seven, no, for this question. We have another question po from Sir Jobs. Sabi niya, paano po makakatulong ang NIST framework upang mapalakas ang depensa ng mga fintech at e-wallet providers sa Pilipinas laban sa lumalalang kaso ng phishing at identity-based attacks?
So as I've said, many things sa NIST, sa mga frameworks natin, even sa DICT na frameworks, nagko-cover ng areas on user training and awareness, nagko-cover ng tawag nito, enhancement ng use cases ng pag-detect ng ganitong mga types of attacks. So for your implementation also, you need to keep on checking, as I've said, testing your configuration, testing your user awareness materials na dapat pag ni-review mo to, nako-cover niya yung mga new trends. So if you keep on reviewing these and enhancing it based on the evolution sa threats, then kaya mong at least proactively train yung mga tao na uh, maging aware sa mga types of attacks na to. Like ngayon may mga smishing, may mga AI deepfakes. So depende 'yan. So kung going back to basics, na even if may deepfake ka, meron kayong awareness na huwag kayong matakot kahit mukha ni boss 'yan. Kailangan mong tawagan si boss na siya ba talaga ang nagpapa-transfer ng pera. So yung mga ganon. So ang siguro from that point, once ma-improve mo yung control mo, i-test mo parate, at yung policies mo dapat strict based on verification of social engineering attempts, mga ganon.
Yes, thank you, Sir Jester. Sabi ni Sir Seven, yes, true. We need to include human firewall talaga. Yes, we agree na yung human talaga yung biggest or weakest link and very vulnerable sa mga cyber attacks. Another question from kay Sir Besa, sabi niya kanina, from the topic, no, Sir Dexter, still, can it protect Avast premium security from the hacker? Yung Avast daw po ba ay mapoprotektahan po ba ito from the hacker?
Siguro kung legit na legit na Avast security tool siya, oo, meron siyang level na napoprotect niya from malware, virus or hacker attempts. Pero hindi lahat. Kaya maraming nag-evolve ngayon to EDR, to sa mga antivirus din, marami rin silang evolution ngayon. May dagdag sila ng mga features or modules na parang siguro part of their subscription na rin na kailangan mong subscribe to para madagdagan yung protection ng machine mo from hackers. Pero meron ding mga limitations yon. So basically, aside from antivirus, Avast, you need to keep your machine updated also. Let's say may bagong OS updates, may bagong browser updates. Because regardless of merong antivirus, yung mga browser takeovers, very common yun, di ba? May mga links na binibigay ang hacker sa user, kiniklik mo na open sa browser, tapos nagkakaroon ng communication, nagkakaroon ng C2, command and control, yung hacker sa PC mo. So from that level, hindi mo na nakikita agad ng antivirus yan. So depende sa modules na sinubscribe mo siguro, pero to some extent, may responsibility ka rin na i-update mo yung mga browsers mo, i-update mo yung antivirus mo, i-update mo rin yung OS mo para yung attempt ng hacker, mahihirapan siya. Pero hindi pa rin zero always. So, as I've said, meron pa rin user responsibility na kailangan aware ka na hindi ka basta-basta mag-click ng link, hindi ka, kasi may mga ganun talaga. So, iwas talaga. Although may mga certain, let's say, levels ng defense na may bibigay ang solution, ang tool, pero yung yung nagsimula talaga na nag-click ka ng link, nagkaroon ng communication from your machine to the hacker's server infrastructure or machine din. Yun, sa simula na yun, hindi mo maiiwasan na magkakaroon siya ng communication dahil nga nag-click ka. So after that, siguro pag plant niya ng malware dun sa machine mo, gusto niya lagyan ng keylogger, mga virus na para makontrol niya yung machine mo. Siguro yung tool mo ng Avast or kung ano man yung antivirus mo, makakatulong siya para ma-stop 'yon. Pero may layers, may levels 'yon. Hindi agad-agad dahil nga may responsibility ka din, may responsibility din yung patching ng browser mo kasi yung mga exploits na ginamit ng hacker, magdedepende doon, magiging successful yun sa mga bagay na hindi natin na napansin na hindi pala natin nagawa.
Okay. Thank you, Sir Dexter. I hope that answers the question ng ating commenter. So another one po from Vince Matthew Resuena. Sabi niya, is there a security framework you can recommend to a small business and to a large organization from your perspective, sir?
Normally, mga small business, check nyo muna yung DICT na framework if applicable sa'yo. If not applicable, usually kasi depende sa business nyo, dapat depende rin sa parang pinaprotektahan nyo na data. Di kasi always, let's say, masasabi natin na dahil small business kami, hindi ito applicable sa amin eh. Like, let's say, yung privacy law, yung mga ganon. So, alam ko, hindi siya discriminate kung small business ka or big business ka. If you collect the data that is specified within the law or within the framework, then you are liable to follow the framework. So, may mga ganon, di ba? So, ang ano lang doon is you need to check with your distributors sa currently sa country natin kung sino yung makapag-provide ng compliance or ng ng guidance kung anong mga tools na pwede for small business that can comply with the framework. So na magkaroon ka ng protection at least sa mga hackers, sa mga threats na nandyan para maprotektahan mo yung data na kino-collect nyo or bini-maintain nyo. So, not necessarily na because maliit ka, iba ang framework na fina-follow mo, hindi ganon. So, it applies to all. So, as a small company, if you want to follow NIST, then you follow NIST. But there will be tools or certain categories that may not be applicable to you because maliit lang kayo na company. Let's say user access management, ang maturity level na kailangan ng mga big companies is mataas. Kailangan automated yung pag-assign ng mga users, mga ganun. So meron silang mga tool na ini-implement for this automation na mag-apply ng role-based access control sa mga data nila. But since maliit kayo na company, ilan lang yung employees nyo, manual nyo itong ginagawa. So within maturity level of that framework, mababa kayo. Pero dahil nga small company lang kayo, hindi nyo kailangan, parang acceptable na sa inyo yon. Basta na-implement lang, hindi nyo kailangan taasan. Based sa assessment nyo, based sa requirement ng company nyo, okay na sa akin tong maturity level na to, acceptable na to. So, depende sa tolerance nyo, depende sa management approvals, decision, pwede kayong mag-stay doon ng maturity level. Pero hindi necessarily na dahil nga maliit kami nga company, hindi applicable. Hindi applicable tong framework na to sa akin. So, hindi ganon. So, nasa maturity level lang yun magkakaiba. Yun lang ang suggestion ko.
Ayun. Thank you, Sir Dexter. No? Hope nasagot din yung tanong nating questioner. So meron pa po bang pahabol ng mga tanong sa ating comments? Magtatapos na po yung ating live. So kung may mga pahabol pa po kayong tanong kay Sir Dexter, no? Now is the time. Okay, kung wala na, so for the closing remarks, Sir Dexter, thank you very much, sir. That was a very clear, practical, and insightful discussion on the capabilities and solution organization needs to strengthen their cybersecurity posture. Maraming salamat, Sir Dexter.
Yun, thank you sa
Thank
ating
you.
esteemed guest, no, Engineer Dexter. We hope that everyone gained practical insights on how cybersecurity frameworks can help patibayan or strengthen our organizational security, risk management, and compliance. So we would like to sincerely thank you po, Sir Dexter, for sharing your time, expertise, and valuable knowledge with us. Okay, thank you as well to everyone who joined and participated in today's session.
Sir Lenny, maraming salamat din. President from the chapter.
I hope may
Sir
natutunan ng
Lenny,
lahat.
salamat po.
Congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, so yun lang. Have a good weekend. Pero sa cybersecurity, ito yung paulit-ulit namin sinasabi. Happy lang.
Happy lang,
weekend.
walang
Walang
weekend.
Banat
Banat.
team.
Okay, ingat lahat. Bye.
Bye,
Ingat.
thank you.